Alright, hi guys, it's Danny. I'm going to be covering the Nile River, specifically the Egypt civilization for this project. I'm just going to go over the standards real quick that I'm going to be covering. I have them all written down, so please pardon me for reading. Um, all 6th grade level social studies, except for the last one. I'm going to work with the history strand, GLI number 2, geography strand number 4, and number 5, and number 6. And then the government strand number 10, because I'm going to go over one of the kings. Um, and economics strand number 14. And then I'm going to integrate the Common Core from the English Language Arts Common Core aspect with reading informational texts, integration of knowledge and ideas number 7, because I think that would definitely be beneficial for some of our 6th graders. Um, just a brief overview as far as the Nile River, Egypt, concerned. Um, the Nile River is the longest river in all of the world. It's 6,650 kilometers, which is extremely long, and it goes from Burundi to the Mediterranean Sea. Um, the reason why Egypt was able to become a country and to survive as long as it did was because of the Nile River. The Nile River would flood from July into September, and that would help with farming. They were very profitable at farming, and they were actually eventually able to figure out how to work with the Nile River to their benefit and create kind of like a faux dam, experience. Um, they had all kinds of domesticated animals like cattle, oxen, sheep, or some of them. And typically, when people think about Egypt, they think about camels. Well, that didn't happen until way after um, all these other animals came out. In Asia, they gave them um, some donkeys and some horses, and that was in 1600 BC. And like I said, the camels came much later, um, which I think is very interesting because a lot of movies portray camels as being around when pharaohs were around. Um, and the Egyptians are credited for creating our 365-day calendar, which they based off of astronomy. And they also developed early geometry, um, in which they built, you know, the faux dam and canals along the Nile River. So here is my box, nice and pretty, and inside of it, all I found were pictures. I looked up a couple of teacher bookstores and libraries, and they didn't have any artifacts per se that I could use. They just had workbooks, so I just printed off a bunch of pictures. This is the first thing I want to show you. It's actually a map of Egypt. Egypt is in the white, and the Nile River obviously runs all the way down, and this is the continent of Africa, and so it keeps going down. The reason why I chose this picture is because um, another nickname for the Nile River is that it represents the lotus flower, which is going to be my next one. Um, this picture represents location and region, which is obviously the Middle East and Egypt. And then my next one, which I'm going to hold up right next to it, is an actual picture of the lotus flower. So you can actually compare the two. And the reason why the second picture I have in my artifact box is the lotus flower is because um, the petals represent kind of way up here, how it spreads out. And then the stem is the rest of the Nile River. The reason why the lotus flower is very important, which I chose this to be the environmental interaction for the theme of geography. Um, a lotus flower is very important to ancient Egypt because it is actually the symbol for regeneration of life. And the reason why this is the case is because um, the Nile, again, kept Egypt a prosperous country and, gave them water for farms, for animals, for the people. Um, and so it kept life going. My next picture, this guy, his name is Menes. This is a sculpture of him that they found. He was around in 3100 BC, so very, very long time ago, and he was the king of Upper Egypt. The reason why I chose him for human interaction is because he united Upper and Lower Egypt. At least he's accredited for it. So there's some controversy about it, but he's very, very famous. He helped the Nile River become a very powerful exchange place. Um, that's where they exchanged goods, imports, exports, all throughout Africa, which was very, very smart of him. He also founded a city on an island in Egypt called Memphis, and the reason why he chose to make his namesake be on an island was because it's easiest to defend an island. It's a smaller piece of land. One of the exports that they would create is called papyrus, and this is actually going to be my movement theme. And it's a close-up picture of the papyrus. You can actually see how it intertwines. It kind of looks almost like a woven pattern. With this papyrus plant, they would open it up and take the papyrus out of the stem and then intertwine it again to create the papyrus. And they would make paper, ropes, mats, sandals, and several other things with this material. It was very cheap for them because it was in their water source, which was the Nile, and they would create so many things with it. An interesting fact that I found was that papyrus is now actually extinct. They used all of it, and there's none left. For the place section, for the place theme, here's a picture of the Pyramid of Giza. It is actually the most famous pyramid in all of Egypt, which I thought was very interesting. The reason why the Egyptians created pyramids were as tombs for pharaohs and other wealthy people or their families. They were basically showing off. There's around 138, 140 pyramids that they've found, and this pyramid right here, it's called the Pyramid of Khufu, I believe is how you pronounce it, and it's the largest Egyptian pyramid, and it's the only existing 7 wonders of the ancient world, which I think is very interesting, so a lot of people go and travel to see it. Those pyramids were made of polished, highly reflective white limestone to give them a beautiful appearance from afar. So again, it was to show off for respect of the dead. Inside of the pyramids were hieroglyphics. This is the hieroglyphic alphabet, which again I'm counting as human interaction. You could carve it on tablets, write it on papyrus, or carve it in wood. It just basically uses symbols and numbers to create a language, a written language. There's over 2,000 hieroglyphic characters, which is a little bit different than our English alphabet. I found it very interesting. And this one you can actually use to create your own name. That's why I got it, because I think that's cool. And last but not least, we have the dam, which I'm going to use as a place. This is called the Aswan Dam. And this is the one that I was talking about them, sorry, this is the one I was talking about them creating, just kidding, about them creating. Obviously, the flooding would be a problem. It would help with the soil, but too much water is never a good thing. So the Egyptians would raise river banks and dig canals and use their geometry concepts to do that. But they actually built this dam in 1902, so it was way after the ancient Egyptians. And in this picture, it's actually its current height, which they made it higher in 1962. That is my conclusion for my box, and I really hope you guys enjoyed it. I found a lot of very interesting facts. I thought I knew a lot about Egypt, so that's why I kind of dug deeper, and I found more than 5 sources for my box. So have a great day.